Have you ever felt like the world is moving faster than you can keep up with? Like everyone around you is talking about longevity routines, meal prepping, morning yoga, cold plunges, and supplements with names you can't even pronounce. And meanwhile, you're just trying to remember if you already took your blood pressure medicine this morning. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Growing older brings wisdom, perspective, and a deeper appreciation for the simple joys in life. But let's be honest, it also brings new challenges. Our bodies move differently, our energy dips a little sooner, and all those routines we used to have, they start to shift, and not always in ways we expect. That's why the idea of building a longevity routine can feel like just another overwhelming task on a growing to-do list. But here's the thing, building a longevity routine doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't mean overhauling your life overnight, or buying expensive gadgets, or eating kale 3 times a day. In fact, the most powerful routines are often the gentlest, the ones that fit into your life, not the other way around. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How to create a simple, sustainable routine that helps you live longer, feel better, and enjoy your days more fully, without feeling like you're training for a marathon or studying for a biology exam. Because longevity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters more consistently. Let's start with something simple. You wake up. Maybe your joints feel a little stiff, your mouth is dry, and your first thought is, where's my coffee? Before you reach for that cup, I want to gently suggest something that might surprise you. Start your day with water. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but after a long night of sleep, your body is dehydrated. Every cell in your body, from your brain to your muscles to your skin, is craving hydration. And drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning sends a powerful message to your system. We're taking care of you. You don't have to chug it down or drink a gallon. Just one glass, maybe even warm, with a squeeze of lemon if that's your style. Give your body the gift of hydration before anything else. You might be amazed at how much better your digestion, energy, and even your mood feel with just that one change. Now, after you've had your water, the next gentle step is movement. I'm not talking about going to the gym or lifting heavy weights. I'm talking about waking your body up with kindness. Maybe it's 5 minutes of stretching while the kettle boils. Maybe it's walking around your home, slowly, breathing in and out just to get the blood flowing. One of the biggest myths about aging is that rest equals stillness. But our bodies were made to move, even gently. And regular, simple movement is one of the most powerful tools we have to increase longevity. Not just in years, but in quality of life. Less stiffness, better balance, sharper thinking, stronger legs. It all adds up. You don't need a fancy routine, just consistency. Let your movement be something you enjoy. It could be dancing to music from your youth, gardening in the morning sun, or walking to the mailbox and back with intention. The goal is not intensity. It's simply to tell your body, I'm still here, I'm still moving, and I still care. That brings me to another quiet but powerful part of any longevity routine, connection. And I don't just mean chatting on the phone or waving at neighbors. I mean real connection with yourself and with others. It might be something as simple as sitting outside with a cup of tea and listening to the birds, or calling someone you love, not to talk about the weather, but to really connect. Share a memory. Ask how they're truly doing. Tell them something you've been thinking about. Human beings are wired for connection, and that doesn't fade with age. In fact, the older we get, the more vital connection becomes for our health. Studies have shown that people who stay socially engaged live longer, with sharper minds and warmer hearts. And that kind of engagement doesn't require crowds. One meaningful conversation can feed your soul more than a dozen surface-level chats. Sometimes, though, that connection needs to begin with ourselves. Maybe it's a moment of quiet in the morning, where you place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, how am I really feeling today? Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes about something you're grateful for, or something that's been bothering you. Creating time for reflection is one of the most underrated habits for longevity. When we slow down enough to listen to ourselves, we often find that we already know what we need. These small steps, drinking water, moving gently, connecting deeply and tuning in, can become the cornerstones of routine that nourishes you without draining you. that support your long-term health, while also making your day feel a little more peaceful. And the best part? You don't need to do them perfectly. You just need to start, even if you forget some days, even if you stumble, even if it takes a little while to find your rhythm. That's okay. This isn't a race. It's your life. And every small, loving habit you build is like planting a seed. With a little sunlight and patience, those seeds grow into something beautiful. Now that we've begun laying the foundation, let's continue weaving in a few more gentle, powerful steps that you can start today without stress, without confusion, and most importantly, without feeling overwhelmed. You've already taken the first few steps, hydrating your body, moving gently, and making time for connection and reflection. These are not just habits. They're acts of care. And when you begin your day with care, everything else tends to follow with more ease. Let's continue building on this routine by talking about something many of us grew up hearing, but might have lost sight of along the way: the power of nourishing food. Now, I'm not going to suggest a diet plan or give you a long list of what not to eat. That's not helpful, and it's definitely not what we need more of at this stage of life. What we do need is simplicity. Foods that love us back. Think of your plate as a message to your body, a quiet signal that says, I want to feel better. I want to stay strong. I want to keep living with purpose. The good news? That message doesn't require fancy recipes or hard-to-find ingredients. Some of the best choices are the simplest ones: colorful fruits and vegetables, a handful of nuts, a bit of olive oil, maybe a piece of fish or beans for protein, a small bowl of oatmeal with berries in the morning, a warm vegetable soup in the evening, comforting, easy, and full of life-giving nutrients. And don't worry if you're not a fan of cooking. Longevity doesn't demand gourmet meals. Even something as humble as a boiled egg with whole grain toast and a sliced tomato can be powerful. The idea is to eat foods that feel alive, foods that come from the earth, and not just from a package. And yes, you can absolutely still enjoy your favorites. Just think about how you can pair them with something nourishing. The key here isn't restriction. It's kindness. Eating in a way that supports your body, not punishes it. That feels good not just in the moment, but afterwards too. Because when your body feels supported, everything gets easier. Your energy, your sleep, even your mood. Speaking of mood, here's another piece of the routine that often goes overlooked: joy. Real, simple joy. It might sound strange to include that in a conversation about longevity, but it's actually one of the most important parts. Because without joy, a routine becomes a burden, a chore, something we dread. But when joy is present, everything starts to feel lighter. So ask yourself, what brings me joy that I haven't made time for lately? It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's sitting down with an old photo album, or listening to a favorite record from decades ago and singing along. Maybe it's painting or walking the garden, or even just sitting with your cat and watching the world outside your window. These little joys are not luxuries. They are lifelines. They keep your heart open. They remind you of who you are beyond the roles, the routines, the responsibilities. And here's the beautiful thing. When you build joy into your daily life, the rest of your routine gets stronger too. You're more likely to move your body, eat well, sleep better, and connect with others when you fill your emotional cup, even just a little. Now, let's talk about something that might not seem exciting, but plays a powerful role in how we feel day to day: consistency. I know it's not a glamorous word, but it's a quiet hero in the world of longevity. Because the truth is, you don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to keep showing up. A 5-minute stretch done every day is better than an hour at the gym once a month. A bowl of soup and a side of greens 3 times a week is better than a crash diet that only lasts a few days. Small, steady steps build momentum, and that momentum becomes confidence. Before you know it, the habits that once felt like effort start to feel like part of you. One thing that can really help is creating a gentle rhythm to your day. Not a rigid schedule, just a flow. Maybe you stretch after breakfast. Read a few pages of a book after lunch. Take a short walk before dinner. These touch points help anchor you. They give your day shape. And on the harder days, the ones where you feel low, tired, or uncertain, they give you something to return to, a familiar comfort in the middle of the noise. And if you miss a day, that's okay. You haven't failed. You haven't ruined anything. Life is full of curveballs. But the beauty of a gentle routine is that it's forgiving. You can always begin again, and your body will always welcome that return. There's one more thing I'd love to invite you to consider as you build your longevity routine, and that's rest. Not just sleep, although good sleep is essential, but real rest, the kind that lets your body and mind exhale. So many of us grew up believing that rest had to be earned, that we had to be productive before we could be still. But rest is not a reward. It's a requirement, and it's deeply healing. Maybe that rest is a midday nap in your favorite chair. Maybe it's sitting in the garden with your eyes closed, just listening to the birds. Maybe it's turning off the television and breathing quietly in bed before sleep. These small pauses aren't wasted time. They're renewal. They allow your body to heal, your heart to soften, and your mind to settle. In fact, some studies have shown that deep rest helps lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and even improve memory. And those benefits add up quietly but powerfully over time, like drops of water that eventually fill a well. As we gently thread these pieces together, nourishing food, daily movement, joyful moments, restful pauses, we begin to see something beautiful forming. Not a strict schedule or a list of rules, but a routine that feels like a rhythm, a daily song that carries you forward with kindness. And the most important thing to remember is this: it's your routine, no one else's. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's. You get to decide what matters most, what works for your life, and what feels doable. That's where the magic is. In choosing for yourself again and again from a place of care, not pressure. As we keep weaving together the threads of this routine, something becomes clear. This isn't just about how to live longer. It's about how to live better, with more clarity, more calm, and more confidence. You've already explored how small choices around movement, food, rest, and joy can shape each day into something more nourishing. And now we add the final touches, those quiet but powerful habits that help you wake up each morning feeling just a little more whole. Let's begin with the mind. As we get older, our minds become just as important as our muscles. In fact, mental clarity and emotional peace may be even more essential to how we age than any vitamin or workout. But caring for the mind doesn't mean filling your day with puzzles or chasing some magical memory cure. It starts with something much simpler: giving your mind space. Space to think, to feel, to let go. That might be through writing in a journal each morning or evening. Nothing complicated. Just a few sentences about how you feel, what you noticed, or what you're grateful for. It might be sitting with a cup of tea and letting your thoughts wander without needing to fix or organize them. Or it might be talking to a friend, a neighbor, someone you trust, and allow yourself to be heard. Mental health isn't always about solving big problems. It's about making room for your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's about letting your inner world breathe. And when you do that regularly, even for just 5 minutes a day, your stress begins to loosen its grip, your memory sharpens, your patience deepens, and your sense of purpose begins to bloom again. Another way to support your mind and your entire well-being is to keep learning. You don't need to go back to school or sign up for a course unless you want to. Lifelong learning can be as simple as reading something new, asking curious questions, or trying a skill you've never explored. Maybe you've always wanted to sketch or plant herbs or learn how to use that phone a little better. Maybe you want to write letters again or join a local group that meets at the library. It's not about achievement. It's about discovery. When you learn something new, your brain lights up, your mood lifts, and your world, no matter how familiar, starts to feel fresh again. The joy of learning never expires. In fact, it might be one of the best anti-aging tools we have, because it reminds us that growth is still possible, that we're not just coasting through the years, we're still participating in life. And speaking of participating, let's talk about something that many people overlook when they think about longevity: contribution. You see, we often think of aging as a time when we slow down, retire, step back. And while it's true that the pace may shift, the desire to feel useful doesn't disappear. In fact, having a sense of purpose, a reason to get up in the morning, can add years to your life and life to your years. That purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can be caring for a pet, or tending to a garden, or volunteering once a month, or making calls to check in on others. It can be writing stories from your life to pass down to your family. It can be showing up with kindness wherever you go, at the market, the doctor's office, even in an online group. Every time you give, listen, or share your presence, you're building a legacy of connection. And that connection fills you, too. When you know you still have something to offer, your days feel fuller. Your heart feels steadier. And you no longer see this chapter of life as an ending, but as a deepening, a place where all your experiences, all your wisdom, can finally take root and blossom in new ways. And that brings us to perhaps the most beautiful part of a longevity routine, self-compassion. We live in a world that often celebrates doing over being, productivity over presence, youth over age. But the truth is, every line on your face, every ache in your joints, every lesson learned through loss or love, these are not signs of decline. They are signs of a life well lived. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to be the perfect picture of health or optimism or grace. You just need to show up for yourself with gentleness, to say, I am doing the best I can, and that is enough. So if one day you forget to stretch, or you eat something that wasn't the healthiest, or you skip your walk because it's raining, let it go. Your routine isn't ruined. You are not off track. Every moment is a new invitation to return to yourself, to start again quietly and kindly. Longevity isn't a destination. It's a practice, a daily recommitment to your own well-being. And the most powerful routines are the ones that evolve with you, that bend and adapt to your energy, your needs, your spirit. If you wake up one day and feel strong and eager, great, move a little more. Try something new. If you wake up the next day feeling slow or sad, that's okay too. Rest more. Be softer. Drink warm tea. Every feeling has its place. Every version of you is welcome. And through it all, keep choosing things that make you feel most like yourself, that reconnect you to the steady, wise, courageous person you become over the years. That's the heart of it. Building a routine that isn't about pressure or performance, but about presence, about being alive, fully and freely, for as many years as you're given. So today, as you look at your own life, your mornings, your meals, your movements, your moment of stillness, ask yourself, what would it feel like to choose just one small thing that nourishes me? Then start there, and let it grow from that one kind act. That one small act you choose today, whether it's taking a gentle walk, calling someone you love, or sitting down to savor your evening meal without distractions. It matters. It's a seed. And the beautiful thing about seeds is, even when they start tiny, they grow roots. They become habits, rhythms, parts of your life that feel less like effort and more like home. And that's what we're really talking about here. Creating a life that feels like home to you, a routine that doesn't demand perfection, but invites consistency, that doesn't add stress, but gently relieves it, a routine that grows with you instead of overwhelming you. You see, when people hear the word routine, they often picture strict schedules, alarms, long to-do lists, and that can feel exhausting. But real routines, the kind that support longevity and well-being, are much simpler. They're made up of moments of care, of returning again and again to the things that make you feel good in your body, peaceful in your heart, and clear in your mind. And here's something important to remember. It's okay if your routine looks different from someone else's. It should. This chapter of life is yours. It's shaped by your story, your preferences, your pace. Maybe your neighbor goes to the gym at 7 a.m., but you feel your best when you stretch slowly in the afternoon sun. That's not a flaw. That's wisdom. Honoring what works for you is one of the best gifts you can give yourself at any age. It's not selfish. It's necessary. Because when you feel balanced and whole, you show up for others with more patience, more kindness, and more energy. Taking care of yourself ripples out. It touches the people you love, your community, even strangers who cross your path. And let's talk about those days when life doesn't go as planned, because we all have them. Days when you feel tired for no clear reason. Days when motivation slips away. days when you just want to rest and be still. Those days are part of the journey too. They don't mean you're failing. They mean you're human. Longevity isn't about never getting tired or never feeling down. It's about building a foundation that helps you bounce back. A foundation that reminds you that even when things feel off, you know how to return to yourself. That's the power of small routines practiced with love. They become your anchor. And sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference. Drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning, taking 3 deep breaths before you get out of bed, stepping outside for 5 minutes, and letting the sun warm your face. These moments might seem ordinary, but they're not. They tell your body and mind, I care about you. I'm here for you. That message, repeated over time, builds strength, builds trust in yourself. And that's something that only grows more valuable as the years go by. So, as you go forward, I want to leave you with something simple but true. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too old to feel better, to feel stronger, to feel more alive. Every single day is a fresh start, and your routine, your longevity practice, doesn't have to be built all at once. It just has to start with one breath, one step, one meal, one smile. Over time, those little acts add up to something powerful. Not just more years in your life, but more life in your years. More joy, more freedom, more peace. So take a moment right now, yes, right now, to reflect on one small change you'd like to make today. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's setting your phone aside for a little while. Maybe it's taking a short walk after dinner, or writing down one thing you're grateful for. Whatever it is, start gently. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to begin. And each day, you'll find your rhythm. You'll find your way back to what really matters. And you'll find that living longer doesn't have to be about chasing more. It can be about settling into enough. Thank you for spending this time with me. If any part of this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What small habit helps you feel grounded and energized each day? Share in the comments. I read every one. And who knows, your tip might be just what someone else needed to hear. If you found this video helpful, give a thumbs up so more people like you can find it too. And don't forget to subscribe for more gentle, practical ways to feel your best at any age. Until next time, take care of your body, nourish your spirit, and be kind to yourself. Because you are worthy of a life that feels good every single day. Here's to living well, living fully, and yes, living longer with joy.